Hi everyone, it is Fitz with the Postgame Walk Talk. Of course, I'm in the studio here. I did not go to Lawrence. Zach and Gills and Michael Goins were there for GoPowercat. Disappointing performance for K-State. They had some opportunities, losing 90-78 at Kansas on Tuesday night. You have to play so exact to win in Allen Fieldhouse. You're not going to get some of the key calls. That's the advantage of a home court right there. And there were some calls in this game that kind of took the wind out of K-State, maybe more than what they needed. And Jerome Tang even got a technical. He really earned this one because he was unhappy about how the game was being called differently at the two ends of the court, which seemed obvious at the time. The referees didn't agree with that, apparently. But KU was really good in this game. There's no way around it. They shot the ball so much better than they did in Manhattan. They were very efficient. They played harder than Kansas State in so many key areas. They forced K-State into some turnovers in the first half that really put K-State in a bad position. 10 first half turnovers, only 13 total in the game. K-State falls behind by 12 at half and loses by 12. So it pretty much was the story of the game. You can't dig yourself that kind of hole in Lawrence and then expect to maybe come back and win that game. Keontae Johnson, another double-double. I think he was 22 and 12. Marquise Noel with 23. Only 4 assists, kind of epitomizing the problems K-State had at times finishing. It wasn't like he was not giving the ball to guys. Guys weren't finishing the shots very often, but the two big dogs for K-State came out and played really well. The rest of the guys, though, really didn't compete. Desi Sills had some moments there where he helped K-State get it back into it a little bit in the second half with some aggressive driving to the basket. But all in all, K-State just wasn't good enough in this game. They weren't efficient enough. And in the Big 12, if you want to win on the road, particularly at a place like Allen Fieldhouse, you have to be not just the equal of your opponent, you have to be substantially better at times. And K-State wasn't that in this game, and it showed up. I was kind of proud of Jerome Tang for picking up that technical. He went to fight for his team. He wants his team to fight on the court, and he's got their backs when it comes to the officiating. I thought it was a needed technical, even though it didn't quite have that great of impact on the game like some technicals can. But he needed to say something or it was going to get really absurd, I was afraid. This Kansas State team is now, 18-5, I think, and 6-3 in the conference. And we're only halfway through the conference, folks. Can you believe that? We've come all this way this season in terms of playing basketball in this Big 12 conference, and we're just halfway done with the schedule now. And oh, by the way, you have Texas coming in on Saturday in an enormous game. Texas, I believe, right now sits alone atop the Big 12 at 7-2. Kansas and Kansas State are at 6-3 behind them. So K-State has an opportunity to put itself in a tie for first place by sweeping the series with Texas after winning that high-scoring game down in Austin earlier this season. So Texas will be, really up for that battle. But in this conference, you better be exact. You better come out and play with confidence. You better finish with confidence. And as that game went on, you saw some guys miss some pretty damn easy shots. I don't want to call anyone out, but there was an air ball on a lay-in from about 4 feet away. And that's just playing as if you're afraid you're going to get fouled and it won't be called and you're playing timid. You can't play timid against Kansas, whether it's in Manhattan, Lawrence, in Kansas City at the Big 12 tournament, or if they do indeed someday schedule that game in Africa. But this K-State team's pretty feisty. They're competitive. They didn't give up. They had an uphill battle once they started turning the ball over in that first half, and they could never quite get over the hump in this game. So congratulations to the Jayhawks. They were facing 5-4 in the conference, which is a weird thing to say for KU, and Bill Self and company came out and got it done. Much more basketball to be played this season. Halfway home, 9 regular season games to go, and then you got the Big 12 tournament, NCAA tournament. So much more to come at GoPowercat from Kansas State basketball. And of course, we'll have some football coverage, a kind of fun thing coming up here later this week with football recruiting. I think you'll enjoy it. Make sure you're subscribing to GoPowercat. Make sure you're subscribing to this YouTube channel. That's it for Fitz right here in the studio. The boys will have the coverage from Lawrence. coming up too.